Mindset is not about your mind. Mindset is not about your brain and what you do. Mindset is about your heart. Mindset is about feelings. There is a process that we know that is your conscious mind, subconscious mind, body, results, right? We know that there are two parts to the mind itself. You have a conscious mind that holds all of your thinking process, that holds your intelligence level. And then you have a subconscious mind. And that subconscious mind is where it's at. The subconscious mind is the part where you feel things. The subconscious mind is the part where it makes your body move into action, and it might hold your body back from moving into action. When you think about mind development is personal development, but all personal development is not mind development. Mind development is when you really look at the way that you're thinking, number one, and then what feeling associating with those thoughts. That is where the rubber meets the road. It's all about how you feel about things, because those feelings are what's causing you to move into action. So let me show you. This is your conscious mind, and this is what you're thinking. You have thoughts coming into your mind all the time. They come into your mind from your environment, from all the things, remember the gates, your senses, all the things that are coming in through your seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, tasting. All of those things are coming in, and they sit in there. They do not do anything until you associate a feeling with them. The feeling is like the wind beneath your wings, right? The feeling is what causes your body to move. And then when your body starts moving, then you get results one way or the other. If you have negative feelings, your body moves in a negative type action. If you have positive feelings, your body moves in a positive type action. We get caught up here. We think that mindset is positive thinking. We think that mindset is if I can just think differently. Nope. You can, and that's the first step, but it is not the thing that makes you move. The thing that makes you move is this heart of hearts, your core, your center. This part down here is where your brain is. It's not up here. This is abstract. That's why I draw a picture of it, because your mind is an abstract thing. It's not something that we can actually look at. We are all programmed to need seeing the thing before we get the proof. Why do I say that faith lives here? Because you can't see this. You can't actually see your thinking process. You can see what your brain does as a result of how it's being guided. But your thinking process is yours. It's abstract. It's not something that we can measure. We can measure the bodily responses from the thinking process. This is the thing that is ruling us. It's not your brain. Your brain has to have something to make it move. Einstein's brain is somewhere hanging out, still there. But Einstein's brain isn't doing anything because Einstein isn't there. Einstein's thinking process isn't there. The feelings that are associated with the thoughts that you have is what your mindset is actually all about. This is your whole mind. But this is the part that's controlling what happens in your brain. Your brain is inside your body. We can take that brain out of your head and look at it and touch it, and we can talk about all the different parts of the brain that make you do certain things. The brain is only acting in response to your thinking and feeling process, which are abstract things, which is why it requires faith to do the things that you do every day. Every time you get in your car in the morning, you have no proof that you are going to make it to your final destination until you actually do. You have faith that you're going to get there. That is by a feeling. Your heart is what controls you. That is why there are so many things out there that are heart-centered. That is why gratitude is key, because that changes your feeling process about certain things, right? It could be a really crappy situation, but you're associating gratitude with something in that situation, which is changing your feelings, your emotional center, which is then directing your brain and your nervous system to do something. When you associate a bad feeling with something, you're going to get a bad response. But when you start associating gratitude and the feelings of gratitude with that thing, then you get a totally different response. There is a thing about highs and lows. When you ride highs and lows in your emotional center, then you ride high for a while and you have high vibration, you have high feelings, you feel good, but then likely you're going to crash because that high can only last for so long. It is imperative that you associate a steady, good feeling with the thing that you're doing. If you're trying to go out there and do things and the things are not working out the way that you think they should, and you begin to assign a crummy emotion to those things, then your thought process is going to have this crummy emotion tied to it, which is going to create crummy action on your part. Crummy feelings. This is where depression comes in, because you begin to feel a certain way about the things. Maintaining is the absolute key. Maintaining. So when you go to an event, for instance, when you go to convention, when you go to a church revival, when you go to a thing, we all know that you go to the event, you have an emotional high, you have an emotional something, right? It is imperative that you maintain the good feeling. Because if you don't, then when you leave that environment, when you leave that emotional high or emotional low or whatever it is that you're doing, when you leave that environment, then all of that goes away. You don't maintain it, and you come right back around to the feelings that you had before. It's temporal. You have to consistently manage your feelings. You have to consistently change your emotion about the thing. Going to events is amazing. Going to things is great. But unless you can maintain that emotion, not the super high, not the super exciting, but the enthusiasm for the thing, when you can maintain a good feeling, a good emotion, that is when you are going to get results. Sitting in a room for 3 or 4 days and getting a really big high is a really big high, but you'll come down. If you miss the idea that you have to maintain that emotion and look for a thinking process that helps you maintain the emotion of the thing that you are in, it's just the thing that you are in, and it lasts for, however long. Maybe it lasts you for 2 weeks after you've left. Maintaining consistency is always going to be your key. And it's not about your thinking as much as it is about your feeling. Thinking is important. You have to do that first. But if you skip this step, if you skip the changing your emotion, if you skip the focus of gratitude type feelings, the attitude that you have about the thing, then you will come right back around to the feeling that you had before the event. You may be noticing this from the highs of the Christmas season and all the things that went along with that, right? You may be noticing that right now there's the high of the, we're still in January, the high of the beginning of the new beginning high. Listen, every single day is a new beginning. Unless you look at that day with the same emotion that you had the minute that you started that thought process, if you continue to maintain that enthusiasm, you can keep going. But if you don't, then you're going to stay where you were, or you're going to come back around to where you were before you had the new beginning. There are so many pieces to this puzzle, and there are so many times when we ride the roller coaster. The roller coaster is the thing that makes us sick. The roller coaster is the thing that allows us to crash sometimes, or come way down to the bottom at a very fast rate, right? It's exciting and it's fun, and then it's painful and it hurts and it scares you. It's the emotion tied behind the roller coaster that causes your brain to work. My whole point here is this: recognize, release, replace, and repeat. If I come in and I tell you, and we're so excited and we're on fire and we're gonna do the thing and it's so awesome and amazing and wonderful, that's great, that's awesome. But you have to recognize that that high vibration is not gonna stick with you forever. You have to have the tools to maintain the emotional consistency, the emotional maturity that you need to manage the high, to manage the low, to keep going in the low and to keep going in the high, or to recognize it as not a low or a high, but it is just what it is. And you just keep going. Somebody else's high is going to be higher than yours. Somebody else's low is going to be lower than yours. The key is to just keep going with that emotional maturity. Not the, yay, everything's wonderful and grand, and not the thing that makes you feel just like crap because you're not like so-and-so. Feeling is where it's at. That's where you need to concentrate your efforts. Consistent feeling. Being vulnerable and letting go of a lot of the feelings that you may be storing up, mostly negative feelings. Being vulnerable and holding those feelings in and never sharing those with others, that is unhealthy, of course. But it is exactly as unhealthy as sitting in your vulnerability, in the sense of sitting in the emotional low and trying to get people to come with you to your emotional low. Vulnerability is important as long as it is a tool to help somebody else move forward, as long as it is a tool to help somebody else maintain a normal sense of emotion, or for yourself. The emotion is the absolute key to maintaining consistency and to maintaining growth. Think about your heart, not so much the mind, but the heart part of your mind. That's where it's at, and that's where it lives. And that is going to cause you to grow and mature in your mindset and your thinking process.